Hey guys, how you doing today? Just got off work, heading home. Getting colder, getting colder. So a bit of personal news. I definitely have a gluten allergy. I mean, it's pretty clear to me. I cut gluten out of my diet. It's only been 2 days. I feel way better than I have in a long, long time. So I've definitely got some kind of gluten thing going on. I'll keep you all apprised, but so far energy levels increasing, feeling less depressed, increasing. Don't eat pasta, apparently. So meat and potatoes for me, I guess, for the rest of my life. Oh well, there are worse fates. I think the thing that I really want to talk about today, and what's been banging around in my head, is I think I'm going to title this video The Great COVID Scapegoat. We're obviously witnessing in our media an enormous scapegoating of what's happening during this second wave. What's causing the second wave? What's the fuel behind it? And the clearly to me, like at first it was, oh, it's kids going out and partying. They're the problem, right? Even conversation like, oh, you know, you got school opened up and you got kids going back to school, and that's a bit true if you ask me. And now the thing that really kicked me off on this conversation is now you've got it so well, Thanksgiving is coming. Oh, and if you get together with your family over Thanksgiving, ooh, that's gonna cause a spike up. And once there's a spike up over Thanksgiving, these families who got together to actually celebrate Thanksgiving with one another and actually maybe see one another for once in their lives. You know what I've never seen? You know what article I haven't ever seen in the media at all? Hey, you notice that the retail establishments are open, right? Lots keeps being said about bars and restaurants and clubs and all this kind of stuff, but hey, you notice that the retail establishments are still open? You notice that you can just go into a retail establishment, right? Sure, put your mask on, right? That's great. But like, if you're a retailer, like I see like a couple hundred people a day, you know? On a slow day, well, it might be like only 50. And like, we're being told, okay, but you can't go see 3 people who you're related to. But boy howdy, work starts at 9 a.m., right? Go handle a bunch of products that a lot of other people have handled, you know? Go breathe the same air that they're breathing. Sure, you've got your mask on, but the mask isn't the mask isn't 100% a protective, like it doesn't protect you 100%. And at this stage, it's just a numbers game, right? But I've never seen an article that's actually talked about it. I've never actually seen any paid journalist actually tackle the question of, okay, wait, what's it mean to actually work in the service industry, to work in a grocery store, to work in any of these retail environments? What are the risks? What are you actually facing? What does it actually look like? Like if we had like a rational news media that was actually geared towards informing the populace about what's happening, they would be very interested in answering the question, well, what are the risks, right? One would think that risk assessment and informing the populace of what the risks are based on what job they have would be first and foremost in their mind, but they're not interested in that, right? They're interested in publishing these scapegoating articles, right? They're interested in making sure that the populace never actually clues in and figures out that capitalism is the problem, right? That the structure of the system that we live under is propagating and propelling this disease forward, right? And I'm not trying to say that there isn't like issues to be faced. Like, we do need to send our kids back to school, right? We do want to educate our kids. Certainly. I don't want the next generation of kids to have missed out on the educational opportunities that we can afford them. But we're pretending as if there's nothing that we can do, right? We're pretending as though there's nothing that we can do to actually help them, to actually stymie the spread of this virus. Like, we could reduce class sizes significantly. We could reduce class sizes. We could hire more people, right? If not teachers, then certainly assistants, right? To actually safeguard and help. We could hire more janitorial staff to make quarantining a more important and higher focus. There are things that we could do, right? But it would require actually confronting capital, right? Confronting the fact that billions of dollars have been hoarded in the hands of a very small group of people. And we have in power right now the acolytes of that death cult, that they're not interested in actually, not only are they not interested in confronting capital, right? They believe that capitalism and capital is the proper way to organize a society as it burns down around them. Like people like Doug Ford, he's not going to ever say that this virus is being spread because businesses are open, right? Which, of course it is. Of course it's being spread because businesses are open. Like, we like to pretend like, oh, we've got our masks on and we're sanitizing and all this kind of stuff, but that's assuming kind of perfect action, and it's assuming that those methods are perfect in their prevention, and they're not, and they never will be. And so just today we announce that we've crested a new peak here in Ontario, 797 cases, the highest it's ever been, and our government is completely silent. It's doing absolutely nothing, while our media scapegoats people who want to get together on Thanksgiving. And what's going to happen, as far as the media is concerned, right, as these cases increase and as they go on, they're going to continue to scapegoat people who are getting together with their families, people who are celebrating Thanksgiving, people who are celebrating, or not even celebrating, but just like want to spend time with their loved ones at all. And it's an incredible mixed message to send to the populace. Like, how dare you say to me that I should go to work and serve 100 strangers every single day, right? But I can't say hello to my mother. Like, and when you actually pause to think about it, really what the capitalists are saying to you is your work is more important than your family, right? That your work, you have to go to your work and you have to put yourself in danger, you have to be in risk, but you can't, but those family bonds, we need to weaken those. You need to spend less time with your family. We need to make sure that you can't actually get together and actually have emotional time with your family and maybe actually reach the conclusion that I have already reached, which is that capitalism is structured to destroy you, right? And certainly you can't come together as a family unit and actually begin to complain to the people in power as a unit. You certainly can't do that, right? You certainly can't actually bring forward these issues to people in power. No, you need to be broken into little individual units. That's what individualism is all about, right? It's about dividing and conquering the populace, ensuring that they are at the smallest, weakest, and most vulnerable that they can possibly be, so that you can prey upon them like the predator that you are if you're a capitalist. And unfortunately, it does seem like the populace is kind of just gullibly going along with this, right? Like, it seems as though this narrative of scapegoating is taking hold. Like, just the other day, I was talking to literally like a 22-year-old even. Like somebody who has all the incentive of the world to completely mistrust the news media. Totally. Like, if you're under the age of 25, if you're under the age of 30, I have no idea why you're trusting what these news media organizations have to say. They've proven themselves to be completely fallacious. Like today in the Financial Post, it's getting to the point now where if the news organization has the word post in it, it's just completely garbage. So in the Financial Post, Financial Post publishes an article that, and the writer actually says that Trudeau is creating a climate cult, right? This is unbelievable. That he's saying Trudeau is creating a climate cult. And here, like, this is the level of stupidity that I think this exists on. So imagine if Nazis were coming in tanks to attack your city, right? They're on their way currently to attack your city. And the mayor of your city stood up and said, "We have to fight against these Nazis." And then someone stands up and goes, "The mayor of the city is trying to create an anti-Nazi cult." That's how stupid we're talking. Like, if you're saying fighting against climate change and actually structuring your economy in order to fight back against the forces that have propelled us into this emergency crisis that we find ourselves, if you're calling that a cult, you're an idiot. Basically black and white. And the fact that the Financial Post published that garbage puts them in the same category as the National Post and the National Enquirer. They're just garbage rags that are not actually interested in informing anyone about anything. They're interested in capital, and they're interested in capitalism, which makes them members of the death cult. As simple as that. And it's getting to be like more and more difficult to find anybody actually talking about any of these issues in a way that can even begin to be considered rational. Like, Justin Trudeau gets called a socialist and a cult member because he's banning single-use plastics, which I think is a good idea. Good for the Liberals. You got to give them that one. They're banning single-use plastics, something we should have done 20 years ago. But, you know, it takes time to pry this stuff out of the hands of the powerful and the delusional and the sociopath class. And and he's introducing another small, slight tax on carbon, which, I mean, if you've paid any attention to this channel, I think we should be shifting our whole economy to a war economy. These small piecemeal reforms, the way that liberals operate, are not going to be enough. That carbon tax, we should be ramping that carbon tax right up. We should be doing everything we can in order to completely shift our economy off of fossil fuels as fast as possible, while simultaneously passing a basic income in order to protect the lives of the citizenry. Like, this is something that the liberals, like, they have to be aware of this, right? They're passing disruptive policies, disruptive legislation that they have to know are disruptive, that they must be aware are disruptive to the workers, right? but they're not actually doing anything to help those workers. They're just sort of shrugging and saying like, well, you'll get another job. But the job that you'll get is like, you're going to go from working in the oil industry to like working at a McDonald's, right? And then the liberals pretend as though, oh, well, the conservatives don't have a point. Well, the conservatives don't have a point, right? The only point that the conservatives have is that they're the people who the liberals are abandoning. And if the liberals actually stopped and they went, oh, hey, let's stop abandoning these people. Let's pass a basic income, right? If you passed a basic income, then you could really ramp up the disruption. Then you could really ramp up the industry disruption. Then you could really start destroying these industries. Then you could really start going after stuff. And you could outright say to these people, look, we're passing this basic income because we need to pull back on this stuff. We need to disrupt these industries. It has to happen. We all know it has to happen. We all know it's going to happen. And instead of saying, well, what are you going to do about the people? You know what we're going to do about the people? We're going to pass a basic income. We're going to ensure that your bills are paid. We're going to ensure that you're able to provide for yourself as well as for your family without concern of what tomorrow is going to bring, so that we can restructure and reformulate our economy in a method so that it's not going to completely destroy us the way that we're currently doing. And it's an old game what the liberals are doing, right? Like they are abandoning people in the populace, and they're doing it purposefully because it always pays to remember the liberals and the conservatives work for the same people, right? They're on the same team. They work towards the same agenda. The only difference, the liberals just act as the release valve for the pressure that's built up in the populace, and as the default position for people who are tired of getting beat up by the conservatives, right? The liberals aren't your friends. They're just conservatives that understand to maintain power, they need to actually put a little pressure valve on the bottom of the thing. Conservatives just build up pressure. They don't care, right? They'll go after you, and they'll go after you rapaciously. But the liberals have to play this game where they have the pressure valve, but there are certain things that are sacred to the capitalists, and passing a basic income would tread upon sacred ground. That would be a bridge too far for the capitalist class, because the capitalists are well aware that what's going to happen inevitably is that these abandoned people who are being completely tossed out by the liberals, well, they're going to come vote conservative, right? Because they're going to get tired of these liberals. And how do I know that's true? Because it's what's happened in every single province. That's Doug Ford's story, that's Kenny's story, that's Pallister's story, right? All of these guys get into power because they rally the abandoned and ally them with capital. And it would be extremely easy. It'd be extremely easy to help these people out, but the liberals won't. And of course, as capitalists do, they'll find somebody to scapegoat. Okay, that's the end of this one. Hope you guys are having a good time out there. Have a drink, have a smoke, give someone a high five, spread some love around. Do your best. God bless y'all. Have fun.